Hello, hello, hello. Once again, all my fellow patriots and you filthy leftist stalkers out there. You are listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. My name is Angela Box. All right, before we jump into everything, and there's a lot, let me just get the housekeeping out of the way. If you want to follow me on, Twitter and BitChute and Rumble, it's at Angela's Soapbox. My YouTube got deplatformed again. I had a whopping 5 videos and a whopping 6 subscribers, and they were like, nope, you're out. I mean, they have a bullseye on me. It's crazy. Anyway, so no more YouTube. Good riddance, whatever. My Twitter, BitChute, Rumble, at Angela Soapbox. Facebook and Instagram is The Real Angela Box. Truth Social is Angela Box. When in doubt, go to angelasoapbox.com. And this episode of Raging Elephants Radio, Angela Soapbox, will be turned into podcast form on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Okay, every week on my show, I like to dedicate a sea turtle killing plastic straw to a filthy leftist or, various Republicans that deserve it. There's so much today. I'm taping this on a Wednesday, okay? So this morning, we just had the press conference from the Republicans that are on the Judiciary Committee that are basically blowing the lid off what's going on with the Biden crime family. And literally no major outlet was there and no major outlet has covered it. So let's get the sea turtle killing plastic straw to Pravda or our mainstream media, because once again, they are the problem. Because what is the old saying? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, did it fall? Yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. So I'm going to share my screen with you, lest you think I'm lying. I just checked this on just a couple of minutes ago, because so when Chairman Comer came out earlier today and had this press conference, and I'm gonna dive in a little bit more in it shortly, but essentially it was the Biden crime family has amassed tens of millions of dollars through all of these LLCs, and no one can really explain what business they were doing to acquire all this money. Byron Donalds, who's a fantastic, y'all, watch Byron Donalds. I want to tell you right this, spoiler alert, my opinion, don't come for me. I think Byron Donalds is probably on Trump's short list for VP. He's fabulous. He's out of Florida, he has a finance background, African-American, solid conservative, really sharp, really eloquent, really articulate. Anyway, he basically said they got all these LLCs, but what business are they transacting? What are they doing? So, I mean, again, lest you think I'm lying, I decided, well, let's see what the Washington Post is saying. Let's see what the New York Times is saying. Oh, well, let's see. They're talking about George Santos. George Santos, who has now been charged with financial crimes, including fraud and theft of public funds. It is amazing to me, y'all. It is amazing to me. They're going after this guy because he's a gay MAGA guy, essentially. They don't give a rat's red ass about Ilhan Omar commingling her campaign finance funds with her now husband, who is also her campaign manager or her consultant or whatever. They don't care about that at all. They don't care about the Bidens. They don't care about Hunter Biden laptop. They don't care about anything if it's a Democrat thing. So I'm scrolling down here, and as you can see, oh, here we go. Sexual abuse verdict renews Republican doubts about Trump's electability. We're going to talk about that BS verdict shortly. Let's see, MLK stuff, Title 42. We're going to talk about that and how the Democrat Party is absolutely destroying this country with illegal immigration. Oh, here's something important that's on the front page of the Washington Post. A pushback on, quote, girl push-ups. So I guess it's sexist to say you should do girl push-ups. Listen, y'all, I don't want to get too sciencey right now, because math is hard and science is hard. But pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, that there are about 2,800 biological differences between men and women, including upper body strength. So when you say you do a girl push-up, which means go down on your knees and then do the push-up from there, it's like, yeah, and it's always been called a girl push-up. But I guess that's problematic for the psychopaths ruining our culture. Okay, so nothing on the Washington Post. Okay. Maybe, you know what? Maybe New York Times. Maybe the New York Times is going to have something about this. Let's just see. Let's see. Oh, that's my email. Whoops. That's not it. That's something I'm looking at. You guys got to see my email and then something I'm looking at on Wayfair. All right. Here we go. Santos pleads not guilty. Okay, so Santos, something about the Cleopatra crap, the Netflix documentary or whatever that's using a black lady as Cleopatra, which is so absurd. It would be laughable if it wasn't so destructive, if it wasn't so Orwellian and memory holy, because Cleopatra was Greek and Greeks have lighter to medium toned skin. I have a friend who's Greek. Her name is Olga. She's 100% Greek and she's whiter than me. Okay. And you know what? That she don't have any freckles. She has that great Mediterranean skin that tans really easy, but she doesn't have any freckles. So we hate her. Not really. I love her. But anyway, so as you can see, I'm scrolling down here and there's literally nothing about the press conference. So they literally are trying to get us to think that all of these shell companies, all these LLCs that they set up are completely, there's a logical explanation for all of this, that there's a reason that at least 10 Biden family members are receiving direct payments from foreign nationals, China being the biggest one, Romania being another, and I guarantee that when they start digging in more to that Hunter Biden laptop, they're going to find out that Ukraine is involved and that Russia is involved and that other countries are involved, allegedly, and no one can explain. And it's a very simple question that Byron Donalds and other people ask. He says, Byron said this: the Biden's associates created at least 16 companies while Joe Biden was vice president. Now the list is 20, and as we continue our investigation, that list is growing. To serve what purpose? Guys, this is the important thing. What was the business the Bidens were conducting if it was not influence peddling, if it was not pay to play, if it was not, you give me $1 million here, $2 million there, and we'll make sure the United States throws some foreign aid to your country? What was the purpose other than influence peddling? Because Joe Biden has never spent a day outside of the political world in his entire adult life. I mean, I guess minus the time he was lifeguarding and Corn Pop was rubbing his leg hair, or little black kids were rubbing his blonde leg hair, but I digress. So Joe Biden went from plagiarizing in, I believe it was undergrad. So he plagiarized in undergrad, dropped out. Then he was in the bottom lower half of his, or the lower 1/4 of his law school class, lied about that. He said that he got full scholarships to undergrad and he was in the top of his class in law school. No, he plagiarized and he was in the bottom half. So right out of law school, what does he do? He doesn't go into business anywhere. Because again, I'm trying to give Peepaw the benefit of the doubt here, because there was a time when Joe Biden wasn't riddled with dementia or fake dementia. I mean, because look, y'all, I'm 100% convinced that Joe Biden is pulling a Corrado Soprano. 100% convinced. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the show The Sopranos, still the best show that was ever made, in my opinion. Corrado Soprano, who was like Tony's uncle, he was being hounded by the feds, and to get out of his predicament, he faked dementia. He faked Alzheimer's, and eventually he did end up having dementia for real. But I certainly think Joe Biden's dementia, or whatever the hell we're seeing, is partially fake, because you cannot explain to me why the Biden crime family is so rich. Why do they have 20 LLCs? And here's some of the names of these. And those of us who've been paying attention to this and understand what's in the Hunter Biden laptop, this isn't going to be much of a stretch. I mean, much of a revelation. Rosemont Seneca Partners, Rosemont Seneca Advisors, Rosemont Seneca Technology Partners, RSP Holdings, RSTP2 Alpha, RSTP2 Bravo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see some of these names here. Because look, again, Byron lays this out. He's like, look, you need to explain to us, Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and your family, why there are 10 people in your family who continue to get money from foreign nationals. It's laundered through this guy named Rob Wagner, I believe. If I'm incorrect on that name, I apologize. Rob Wagner is one of Hunter Biden's associates, and so is his art gallerist. And the Comer and the rest of them are like, listen, Rob Wagner and the gallerist, you need to come forward before we start giving you subpoenas to compel your testimony. You can do it the easy way, or you can do it the embarrassing way, because we know for a fact that you're hiding things because you know that what you're doing is illegal. And in our next segment, and I'll hopefully be able to get back to this shortly, or in the third segment, but if I don't, just know that this week is my inaugural Angela Bach show on 1070, AM 1070, KNTH, which you can listen to on Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock. You can listen on iHeartRadio, or it's 103.3 and 1070 AM here in Houston. And I'll dive into this some more, but just know this. We've got an incredibly corrupt federal government. We have an incredibly corrupt FBI and DOJ. We've got an incredibly corrupt press. They're all working in tandem together. They're all focusing on George Santos, Donald Trump's this ridiculous case with E. Jean Carroll, which I'm going to talk about in the third segment, instead of talking about what's really going on, which is their unbelievably deep corruption. And why are they doing all this? To keep Donald Trump from being president, to destroy MAGA, to destroy conservatives, and to make sure that their system is not destroyed, to make sure that their system that they are used to using is not destroyed. All right, in the next segment, I've got Merissa Hansen. If you don't know Merissa Hansen, you're going to want to know her, because she is a dog with a bone with this stuff. She's one of the best researchers I've ever seen. She digs into documents, financial transactions, mainly with Harris County malfeasance, but we're going to be talking about the elections of 2022 and how Harris County is doing the most to not provide transparency to voters to prove that they didn't cheat. So we're going to get to that. All right, guys, you are listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio, and I will be right back. Welcome back to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. I am super honored and thrilled to have what will be an ongoing guest on my show. Who will be an ongoing guest on my show? My friend Merissa Hansen, a investigative reporter who is just uncovering all kinds of malfeasance in Harris County, in Texas, and indeed around the country. Welcome, Merissa Hansen, the legend, to Angela's Soapbox.
Thank you for having me today, Angela. I'm so glad to be on the show. I've heard you so many times.
Yeah, this is gonna be y'all wait till you understand what Marissa's been digging up. So those of us who've been paying attention know that the 2020 midterms throughout the country were an excrement show, but in Harris County in particular, the third largest county in the country, it was truly corrupt. We ran out of paper ballots in Republican precincts. The machines were malfunctioning in Republican precincts. And all of these things happened on election day. And so we had a situation where the judges and other elected officials, especially the Harris County judge, the Lena Hidalgo race and the Alex Mueller race, were separated by only 15,000 votes. So we've got a lot of lawsuits going on talking about fraud and malfeasance. And these people are hiding things. Merissa, what are they hiding? Who's covering up for them? Let's unpack it.
Angela, there were so many prongs of cheating in the 2022 elections in Harris County, you wouldn't believe it. It starts with the paper ballots, specific polling locations running out of ballots, specific polling locations not opening in time. I mean, anything that you can think of happened. Voting machines that we had just spent $54 million on in 2020, all of a sudden just stopped working on election day. And during early voting, we never had any of these issues.
They were fine.
We never ran out of paper. We never had any of the machines going down. The toner didn't go out. Polling locations were open on time. The judges were well trained. And then all of a sudden, election day comes along. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, I start getting phone calls telling me that, oh, this polling location isn't open. This polling location is out of toner. This polling location doesn't have paper. I was reporting on it for about 12 hours. And then all of a sudden, I get a phone call being told that Texas Organizing Project and the Texas Civil Rights Project had gone in and sued the county for a TRO to keep the specific polling locations open. So
Specific ones.
Like Baker Ripley, for example, and I'm going to have to touch on Baker Ripley being a Democrat feeder and having offshore bank accounts in the Grand Cayman soon. But, let's get back to what's going on. So they sue the county, and Jonathan Fambone and Christian Menefee, the county attorneys, side with them. But Texas Organizing Project is fully funded, or very heavily funded, by Rodney Ellis. I think it's somewhere about $250,000 he's given to this organization, and this organization was formerly Acorn, rebranded as Texas Organizing Project. Someone from Real Clear Politics wrote a large article about what Texas Organizing Project really is.
So yeah, basically, for those of us who are, Acorn was this huge organization, this community organizing organization that was basically a money laundering, feeding implement for the Democrat Party, a big Obama thing that was disbanded after James O'Keefe exposed it for, I think they were promoting prostitution or something like that, from what I recall. But
that's right.
This group, this Texas Organizing Project, working with Democrats to keep specific Democrat locations open later. At the same time, we have a situation where we have no ballots, we have no toner, we have machines malfunctioning in Republican precincts when Republicans, we know, go vote on election day. So we had a situation with, again, 15,000 or so votes separated Alex Mueller and Lena Hidalgo. Now, what happened next with the lawsuits, and what's going on with the FOIAs that you're not able to get a hold of?
Okay, so back to that lawsuit. When they were in court, Jonathan Fambone, the county attorney, the first assistant county attorney, he lied in court and said that all of the polling locations had been fully stocked. So I knew for sure that was a lie. And so I had submitted a FOIA request to the county attorney's office for the court transcripts from that day. And what did they do? They appealed my FOIA. They appealed every single FOIA request that I have submitted regarding the 2022 elections in Harris County. And I have to ask you, why would they be appealing every single FOIA if they had nothing to hide?
Right.
I mean, these people are, everyone that I have spoken to, Wayne Dolcefino, my friend Mark McCraig, all of these people, none of them are able to get any of the information that we have, requested. And to add insult to injury, the AG ruled in my favor for some of the FOIA requests. And guess what they did?
I'm sure they just appealed it.
No, so the county ends up countersuing the AG on their rulings and add all of the rulings in our favor into amendments on the lawsuit. So so now they're using the excuse that they cannot give us our FOIA request because it's now in a lawsuit.
Yeah, Democrats are very good at this lawfare stuff. Very good. We have one group, America First Legal, that is trying to do lawfare on our side, but the Democrats have perfected this. And I think it goes to your point about transparency. What the hell are these people hiding? If everything is cool, if Lena Hidalgo and all these judge slates run fair and square, if Leslie Briones, who's connected to, what's that group, Arnold Foundation?
Arnold Ventures, huge George Soros wannabes.
If these people won fair and square, why are they kicking and screaming against transparency? That's number one. Number two, we've got a situation like in our national media where our local media has circled the wagons around these Democrats, and they keep kicking the can, thinking that if we just keep pushing these lawsuits out, it'll be eventually like, oh, we should just wait until the next election now. So you mentioned
Yeah, that's not going to happen. We're
Yeah.
not giving up this time.
No, we're not.
You know,
And go ahead.
people rolled over way too easily in 2020.
Yeah.
In 2022, things have changed. And, you know, Rodney Ellis needs to be aware of that we are coming all guns blazing
Yeah.
for him and making sure we get everything that we are supposed to get for those FOIA requests. And we are going to prove that they cheated in this election.
They literally have nothing to run on, so they have to cheat. We know this. The Chronicle reporter that you mentioned is a lady named Jennifer Rice. Jen Rice.
Yeah, she goes by Jen Rice.
What's Jen Rice been up to in the Chronicle, circling the wagons for these people?
So this is what's interesting. A day before the election, Jen Rice runs an article saying that the Astros parade might affect the openings for the polling locations the next day. And, you know, I was like, why would a parade that's being held in downtown affect the polling locations around Harris County? It's almost like Jen Rice was given this information to provide like some kind of shaping operation for people to be prepared for it. Right. And what's even funnier about it is that Clifford Tatum blamed the Astros parade for why the locations weren't open, you know, in his report that he came out with several months after the election.
Yeah, it's shades of 2020 when all 5 swing states shut down at the same time, and they all gave different reasons. Oh, you know, I'm just going to bed, whatever. Well, it's 10:30. It's too late. We have to shut everything down, and they're giving cover for these people to say, and the media is following along because the media doesn't want MAGA. They don't want America first. They don't want Texas first. They don't want anything we've got. So they're all working in coordination. It might be interesting to FOIA maybe Rodney Ellis's interactions with Ms. Price, and maybe FOIA Jen Price's interactions with
it's Rice
members of the commission.
Right, it's Rice like the food, not Price.
Oh, excuse me, Jen Rice. Excuse me. Let me get that heifer's name right. Jen Rice at the Houston Chronicle.
That's right. Yeah, but you know, it's just what's become, you know, Harris County has basically become a total banana republic.
Yeah.
The commissioner's court, when it flipped blue, it became weaponized. And, you know, the commissioner's court's meetings, they used to have, you know, you used to be able to talk at least for 2 to 3 minutes. They've now shut down your speaking time to only 1 minute. And the court is made up of 4 Democrats and just 1 Republican. And 2 people of the court have to vote to allow you to continue speaking. Can you believe that?
I mean, yes, I can't wait to go to Commissioner's Court with you sometime soon and just yell at these people and rail on them for at least a minute.
The problem is that they're doing this to control and suppress the information that's coming out. Because I usually go in there and start, you know, dropping bombs about the election and whatnot to, you know, get it on public record and make sure that, you know, when the time comes that they cannot deny that they knew this information. It's all on public record now.
Before we go, can we discuss the Tanisha Hudspeth connection with Clifford Tatum and how she was providing cover for Clifford?
Okay, so since the new election administrator's office has been created, they came out with this election commission board, which is made up of 4 Democrats and 1 Republican. Mm-hmm. And when I went to the election commission meeting, which was held 5 months, or no, actually, I think it was 6 months after the 2022 elections, and Clifford Tatum goes up to speak, and the county clerk, Tanisha Hudspeth, who sits on the board of IAGO.
What's IAGO?
IAGO is a board of election and companies like Runback, Hart InterCivic, and all of the bad actors are a part of. And it seems like IAGO is helping with stealing all of our elections because all of the vendors tend to have, there tends to be a lot of fraud with those vendors.
Right.
But the allegations are there.
Imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, it's all allegedly, but I have to be careful because I don't want to get sued.
Right. Allegedly.
Yeah. And I believe Dominion also sits on the board of, or they're one of the vendors of IAGO. But Tanisha Hudspeth stops Clifford Tatum from even uttering a single word about how what went wrong on the 2022 elections, citing, guess what? The lawsuit that Christian Menefee had filed. This lawsuit is just a way for them to prevent us from getting any sort of information and from the truth coming out about what happened on November 8th or November 3rd in 2022.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Merissa is a bulldog. She will not stop. She has so much dirt on people, and trust me when I tell you, they're not happy with her, which means she's on the right track. When they try and silence you and shut you down and threaten you, you're on the right track. So, Merissa, I really hope that you'll come back to my show. I can't wait to talk to you on my inaugural show of the Angela Bach Show on 1070 this weekend. And in the meantime, how can people reach you, follow you, what you're doing, and support you?
So I've got a Substack. You can follow me at merissa.substack.com, or you can follow me on my Twitter account, which is Merissa Hansen 17. Thank you so much for having me today, Angela.
Oh, well, my pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, guys, you've been listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. All right, if you guys have been following this ridiculous E. Jean Carroll case like I have, I was just fit to be tied yesterday when this came out that that basically Trump was found guilty of, what was he found guilty of? He was found guilty of abuse, or like sexual abuse, and guilty of defamation, but not guilty of rape. So let me get this straight. You don't think, how can you have one without the other? This is my question that they still haven't explained to me. You cannot have Trump raped this woman allegedly in this the parking lot, the dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, which Trump has said from day one did not happen. And he's been adamant that this heifer ain't his type. And by the way, neither is her lawyer his type. He has been adamant about that. He's been saying this is absolute insanity. This never happened. And the jury, they said, well, we don't think he raped her, but he certainly abused her. How? How did he abuse her sexually if there was no rape? Okay. How can we parse that there, jury? And furthermore, when Trump goes out and says, I don't know this woman, I don't know anything about her, this never happened, you're telling me that the man who's being accused of rape, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't have the right to go out and defend himself. But when you start realizing, again, this jury in New York City, this is no different than a DC jury. They are rabid anti-Trumpers. They are rabid Democrats. They are rabid leftists. And it did not matter what was put in front of them. They were going to find him guilty of something. Now, E. Jean Carroll is a confirmed lunatic. E. Jean Carroll went on the Anderson Cooper show, never forget, when she was describing this rape and this sexual assault that nobody saw, there's no video footage of, and no contemporaneous witnesses of. But she goes on Anderson Cooper because Trump is Trump, and I guess you get to, if you're Trump, if you're Donald Trump, then literally anybody on planet Earth can come forward and make an accusation towards you, and you're not allowed to defend yourself because because the judge in his case and the judge in the Stormy Daniels case is like, no, you can't talk about it. You're not allowed to defend yourself, but you can go on Anderson Cooper, accuse the president of raping you. This is just, y'all, this is just what happened to Brett Kavanaugh with Christine Blasey Ford yes, I don't remember anything that happened, but Brett Kavanaugh raped me. Y'all, they go out and they say these things, and then our people are not allowed to defend themselves because that's defamation. So by Trump saying that this woman is a wackadoodle, my opinion, wackadoodle, a woman he's never met before, not his type, didn't happen. By him going out and saying that, that's supposedly defamation on E. Jean Carroll. Even though E. Jean Carroll goes on Anderson Cooper and talks about rape fantasies. Yes, she did, ladies and gentlemen. And Anderson Cooper had to cut to a break because he was like, this is going off the rails. And then he had to fluff her up during the break and be like, hey, honey, maybe not talk about your rape fantasies on my show when you're trying to ensnare the president of the United States in a rape accusation. Like, maybe do that. And another thing that's outrageous about this case, and I'm going to share my screen with you because it's important to know who pays for these things, right? It's important to know who is bankrolling these lawsuits. And I mentioned last week that Reid Hoffman, who is the co-founder of LinkedIn, is a huge Democrat. Reid Hoffman is a big buddy of Jeff Epstein's. Reid Hoffman admitted that, oh, yes, indeed, he did go to Epstein Island. And but there's nothing to see here. It's fine. At the same time, Reid Hoffman is the main bankroller of this lawsuit against President Trump. Reid Hoffman is the main guy funding this BS and encouraging this woman who is mentally ill and making things up to continue on with her quest, her chaotic quest of getting President Trump, their chaotic quest of getting President Trump. And he also, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're watching, you can see this, he also bankrolled, one organization called Fusion GPS. Now, Fusion GPS, you're going to have to search your memory bank for that because, our news cycle goes so fast and everyone has ADD. But Fusion GPS was the organization that was in charge of creating the Russia dossier, the Russia collusion hoax dossier, the P-tape, bankrolled that with and Christopher Steele was working with Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS was working with the Hillary Clinton campaign in order to make this up, okay? These people who go to Epstein Island, who are on the Lolita Express, who clearly have issues, let's say, allegedly, don't come for me, allegedly, maybe like some activities that perhaps are not kosher. That's all I'm going to say. These are the ones coming after President Trump. These are the ones coming out for his scalp every single damn time. And it's not just Reid Hoffman. It's all of these Democrats. But again, it's amazing what the media is talking about and what the media is not talking about. The media is talking about George Santos. The media is talking about this Trump BS rape case, which he's going to appeal and he's going to end up winning because this judge literally would not allow his lawyer, Trump's lawyer, to question E. Jean Carroll as to did you or did you not find the security tapes from Bergdorf Goodman to either confirm he was there or to corroborate any part of your story. The judge wouldn't even let Trump's lawyer ask that. I mean, this is so unfair from top to bottom, but this is the banana republic we are now in. So we've got a sitting president of the United States enriching his family and himself to tens of millions of dollars because the Bidens have done literally nothing with their lives except suck off the taxpayer teat and make money using their name. That's all the Bidens have ever done, okay? And we have a situation where he's bought and paid for by China. He's bought and paid for by Ukraine. He's bought and paid for by Romania, of all places, and Russia. It's all on the Hunter Biden laptop. And we have a situation at our border which is out of control, which is all tied in together. And then on the other hand, you have, let's get Trump by any means necessary. By any means necessary. But I love that Trump is kind of standing back and he's like, you want to see what my policies, how good my policies truly were? Let's see what they've done to destroy this country in 3 short years. Now, the border, as we know, is not secure, even though the gay Black immigrant woman, Karine Jean-Pierre, lets us know that every chance she can get. Yes, the border is secure. It's like listening to Baghdad Bob or some Orwellian double speak person. Yeah, yes, the border is secure, of course. Well, what do you mean the border's secure? There's people flooding in all over the place. There's drug cartels. There's illegals shooting up families in Cleveland, Texas. This was last week. Cleveland, Texas, a man went over to his neighbor's house to request that he stop firing off rounds in his yard. Francisco, let me share this with you. Well, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Francisco Oropesa responded by executing all 5 members of the man's family. Oropesa is an illegal alien. He had been previously deported 5 times. So again, these people want to talk about guns. These people want to talk about things that are good for their agenda, like disarming the American people, which is all this has ever been about, but they have no desire to talk about what's going on the border. So Title 42 is being lifted in 2 days. Title 42 is the one thing that kept this from becoming an absolute catastrophe. I mean, it already is just a catastrophe. Biden's already allowed in like 2.5 million illegals. And, I love that the red state governors keep shipping them off to blue cities and states, and the blue mayors and the blue governors are like, stop it. You listen, Greg Abbott, you better stop sending us all these illegals. And it's like, hang on a minute. I thought you wanted these people. I thought you said these were the best and brightest. I thought you said they were better than Americans and we should accept all of them. Well, here you go. Here's some. It's like saying to people, why don't you open your home and allow 50 or 60 people just to come in, eat all your food, use all your resources, rape a daughter or 2, and then murder your mom. Like that's kind of what the Democrats are asking us to do. And what it's proving is how well a wall would really work, because walls clearly work. They work in Israel. They've kept out plenty of Islamists from Israel from blowing up bombs and blowing up Israelis. And a wall on our southern border is 100% what we need. There's no question in my mind that the American people are finally pulling their heads out of their butts. And instead of like wringing their hands because they were made to feel bad about wanting a wall and not wanting illegal aliens invading their communities. And now that it's becoming such a problem and such a massive, obvious invasion that is a purposeful invasion by this administration and by the deep state that want to destroy this country as quickly as possible, people are now going, yeah, we probably should use that wall. Yeah, we probably should have the Remain in Mexico policy. That was a good thing that President Trump did. And so the longer the time goes by, people are starting to realize more and more, yeah, President Trump's policies were actually really good for this country. And what the Democrats are doing is so obviously against our interests. So look for that to be exploding in very short order. And what's also amazing to me is, the psyops the left is doing with this, the Allen Mall shooter. What is his name? Mauricio Garcia. They're running out around set telling us, yeah, Mauricio Garcia, who looks like he's got MS-13 tattoos on his hand. This guy is probably an illegal alien because his parents asked for an interpreter, which would imply maybe illegal status. Anyway, this Mauricio Garcia, the Allen Mall shooter, they're wanting us to believe that this guy, just like all the other ones, except they don't want to talk about Audrey Hale. No, they will not release her manifesto. They're like, oh, we're totally going to release it. Don't worry. And then 3 weeks later, they're like, we're not releasing it, because they'll never release this thing. Trust me, it will never happen. But they will impugn an entire group of people. They will blanket white people as all racist and all neo-Nazis, etc. When this Mauricio Garcia guy is a Hispanic and probably illegal. And it's funny, isn't it funny too, before I go to the break, they don't want to talk about that this guy's probably illegal. They don't want to talk about that his family's probably illegal. They haven't mentioned it. I mean, look, if he was not illegal, if his parents and him were here legally in this country, we would know that by now. But if you look on, if you look on social media, I'm going to share this with you. You can see the people are really starting to ask some questions about this. Even Elon Musk is chiming in on this, because he's like, this whole thing is starting to look like a psyop. So if you're watching, you can see this Mauricio Garcia has these new tattoos, like the lightning bolts of the Nazi flag, and then a swastika, and then a tattoo of Texas, and they look new. If you can see the outline here, I mean, I don't have tattoos, but they definitely look like new tattoos. And Kyle Becker on Twitter said, "Why are the Allen Mall shooter's tattoos so damn fresh? A Hispanic man with recent tattoos of Nazi symbols and the city of Dallas. This just does not add up." And the organization that is supporting all of this idea that Mauricio Garcia is a white nationalist, neo-Nazi, whatever, is Belling Group. I'm probably mistaking that. I need to look that up. But it's some group that basically has ties to the CIA, has funding by the CIA and intelligence organizations. So Elon Musk was like, this looks like a really bad psyop. Like, it doesn't even look like a good one. This is just dumb. So they're like pretending that this Mauricio Garcia was some sort of neo-Nazi in order to once again get their gun control agenda, which is to take legal guns from the citizens of the United States. Resist it at all costs. All right, you are listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. I got some more, people. I got some more. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. Okay, I looked up what that organization was. It is called Bellingcat. Let me share my screen with you. It's important. It's important to get these things right. The brown face, this is from Andy No on Twitter. The brown face of white supremacy, a leftist Bellingcat writer has posted screenshots from the purported obscure Odinus, it's some Russian social media profile of the Allen, Texas mass shooter Mauricio Garcia. He's trying to link the shooter to Timcast and libs of TikTok. So Eric Toller is this leftist little twerp who's trying to gin up this idea that Mauricio Garcia, the probably illegal, probably MS-13 affiliated Allen mass shooter, is somehow this white supremacist, this total psyop that has been perpetrated, I think. This is Andy No again. I haven't checked if this is actually him in the picture. This is what Eric Toller said, and he had to delete the post. He deleted the following post. He likely did find a social media account belonging to the Allen, Texas gunman that featured brown Latino neo-Nazi propaganda, but he mixes the information with other things to confuse people what is really going on here. And, you know, the left is very good at confusing and trying to gaslight everybody into their way of thinking. And I was watching this, but wait, real quick before I get to this, because I want to talk to you about this documentary I watched last night. But before that, I want y'all to see this. So this is from Michael Yorn. This is about the Title 42. I mean, guys, people on the border are so screwed right now. Ranchers on the border, people who just live in the community. I talked last week about this community called Plum Grove that has basically 50,000 illegal aliens in it. There's a city of 800 people, and this dirtbag named Trey Harris, who is some multi-millionaire, decided to buy this massive tract of land and sell tracts to illegal aliens in Mexico. And then when they can't pay, these, you know, he jacks up the interest rates or whatever, because it's an owner-lender type of thing. Jacks up the rates, and when they can't pay, he just kicks them out and puts in another family. So there's like literally 50,000 people in these slum shanty towns called Plum Grove. And that's just one. And the communities that are being overrun by these illegals, it's just unbelievable. So this is from Michael Yorn, important from a Border Patrol source just now. Starting this morning in the Rio Grande Valley McAllen station, all Border Patrol details are canceled. 90% of each shift must report to the staging area in McAllen. This leaves only 5 agents on each shift to patrol 50 miles of river. They might as well raise the white flag. It's done. Everyone will get away. Aliens will come pouring over the border. I know you will be out there, so be careful, go armed, and don't go alone. There will be literally no one out there to help you, and the cartels will take full advantage. Guys, this is on purpose. And when Mayorkas gets up there and lies through his teeth, saying that this is not happening, that this is not a problem, that this is white supremacy, if you have a problem with brown people invading, this is an invasion, ladies and gentlemen. And Greg Abbott sending, I don't know, 50 or 60 troops down to the border is a joke. Barbed wire is a joke. Greg Abbott could have stopped this a long time ago. And that's what people need to understand. Greg Abbott is not doing his job. Greg Abbott is being funded by people like Trey Harris, who give him $1 million every campaign cycle. Trey Harris, again, who's buying the plots of land for illegals in Plum Grove, Texas. He could have shut this down a long time ago. And you know what? He could have put tons of troops on the border, repelled the invasion, and then dared the Biden administration to sue him. Do it. Sue us. I dare you, because we're really going to get into what the federal government is not doing. That's what should have been done from the jump. It is outrageous. It is outrageous that this is happening. And of course, in blue cities and blue states, we expect it, but not in Texas. Not in Texas. Not in Arizona. I mean, Arizona, please. Arizona, Kari Lake, by the way, Kari Lake is still going. The Supreme Court of Arizona has sided with Kari Lake and has said, yeah, these 35 to 40,000 ballots need to be looked at for signature verification. And I think there was less than 15,000 votes separating her and dirtbag Katie Hobbs, who's completely corrupted and bought and paid for. And the lower courts are not abiding by the Supreme Court's ruling. So the Supreme Court is now going, hey, what the hell? You need to go back and verify these signatures. So this thing's about to blow up. And of course, the media is not reporting about it. Just like they're not reporting on the Biden crime family stuff. They're not reporting on anything they don't want you to see. But it's people like me. It's people like Tucker. It's people like Lara Logan. It's people like Merissa Hansen. People that are getting information out that y'all need to be listening to, because the mainstream media is not telling you the truth. Fox News, by the way, Fox News, talk about a little schadenfreude. Ooh, Fox News, they've lost like 50% of their audience. 50%. For the first time in like over a decade or even longer, people like Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham are not in the top 10 of Fox News primetime viewership. People like Nicole Wallace are, and CNN and MSNBC for the first time in ages are beating out Hannity and Laura Ingraham and Jesse Waters and people like that. Fox News, you're done. Like, you're so done. Just like Budweiser is done. And Budweiser is blaming social media now for the upheaval that they're experiencing because of the Dylan Mulvaney fallout. I mean, we've got pictures of people in Boston, blue city, blue state, Boston, Massachusetts, at Fenway Park, rows and rows and rows of Bud Light just sitting there. No one wants them. Costco is basically giving away Budweiser products. Nobody wants them. This is what happens when patriots band together and say no more. And in the coming weeks, I'm going to be having an affiliate link, a marketing company that I'm going to be working with called Mammoth. And Mammoth is basically a place where you can go to their marketplace and shop with patriotic vendors. So you can get the same things you normally get, but you're shopping through patriotic vendors. You're going to get a discount code with my name, and you're going to be saving 70%. So, I mean, it's a win-win. And it will go to prove to these people that when we band together, we can make things happen. We can bring these people to heel. Now, on the cultural front, I wanted to share this with you. I was debating on whether or not to watch the Judy Blume documentary. Now, Judy Blume, I knew, early on, like certainly when I started paying attention to politics, like certainly by high school and definitely by college, I knew that Judy Blume was a Democrat. I knew that Judy Blume, loves her some Planned Parenthood, whatever. But, as growing up reading her books, and I read a lot of her books, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. That was her first big book that broke her out. And I loved that book. And it talked about a lot of topics that girls thought about and were interested about. And it wasn't perverse. It wasn't overly sexual. I would say most of her work was not overtly sexual until you got to books like Forever, which was aimed at higher level kids anyway. Now, look, people will say back in the 80s that, you know, we should have banned these books and whatever. I disagree. I think when you compare the Judy Blume books to compare to, let's say, genderqueer and very hardcore LGBTQ themed books, like sexual pornographic books that the left is pushing now, it's apples and oranges. I mean, they're 100% gaslighting you into thinking that the Judy Blume stuff is the same thing as what's going on now. But what I found very disgusting and disturbing in this documentary is that they had every leftist known to man sitting up there telling, you know, how much Judy Blume affected them and whatever. Like dump trucks like Lena Dunham, who y'all looks bad. She looks so bad. It makes me so happy. She looks terrible. A-holes like Samantha Bee. You know, all kinds of leftists were represented. And then they put this guy on the screen. And it's a guy named Alex, I think Gone or something like that. Some sort of, they say he's an author, but it's obviously a transgender, but it's a dude. You can see if you're watching, he's got like chin hairs. He's got rainbow colored hair. He's got bolt-on titties. And he's reading from some Judy Blume book. I think it was Deanie, talking about the joys of becoming a woman. It's like, it's so disgusting. It's so perverse. It's so not what Judy Blume was. And Judy Blume's out there buying into all the BS too about, oh, they're banning my books. Isn't it terrible? They're banning books again. Isn't it horrible? And she's got some bookstore in Florida called Books and Books, which is great. Good for her. And, you know, the thing about Judy Blume is that it was a very interesting story. And she came across as extremely likable, relatable. She's kind of a quiet, soft-spoken lady. And I don't dislike her personally or anything like that. And I'm not saying that you should not read her books or anything like that. I think that her books were great. I think, you know, the Fudge series was hilarious and it had nothing to do with sex or anything like that. But Judy Blume sitting there and trying to gaslight you, just like Hillary Clinton's horse-faced daughter, Chelsea, is trying to gaslight you, just like Lena Dunham and Samantha Bee are trying to gaslight you into thinking that Judy Blume books are the same things as genderqueer and other books of that genre is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Because, you know, when my friends go to HISD meetings and they read from these books, the school board members in the past have been like, stop. You can't read that because kids could be listening. And it's like, hang on a minute. These are the books in your library system, okay? We're not talking about Deanie, talking about a little, masturbation here. We're talking about graphic descriptions of sexual activity. The way Deanie was described was, it was like one or two lines in the whole book. I didn't even remember that Deanie had masturbation in it. I remembered that Deanie was about a girl with scoliosis. That's what I remembered. And there was like one passage in there talking about how, you know, she touched herself in her special place. Honestly, I don't have a problem with that because kids are going through puberty. They have questions they want answers to. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with the graphic sexual content that the radical LGBTQ movement is pushing. That's the problem we have. Okay. So look, I could go on about this, but this is my time. My time is up. You have been listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elements Radio. I'm very excited to let you know that my new show is coming. It's going to be coming on Tech and TV Network. And you're going to be able to hear me on Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. at 1070 KNTH. So please listen, tell your friends, be at the ground floor of the Angela Box juggernaut because I assure you it is coming. And my goal is to expose, and humiliate. And we're going to do it together, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be delicious. All right, guys, until next time, remember, keep kicking ass and taking names. Peace.